What's up world? My name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of whatever it is that we're doing here. I'm not here to say what you should do with the thrifted items. Is a total gem. Extremely honest. Prada and Gucci and Versace and all these cool names. Tips and tricks. That's none of my business. Trust me. Now, a lot of people are going to say, I know that can be impossible for some of you. Obviously. It really is that simple. You know the drill. We are a thrifting community. There will be no more intentional or unintentional gatekeeping on this channel. I am sharing all of my thrifting hacks. Hopefully I can cover them all in this video because there is no reason why we shouldn't all have these tips and tricks. Now, I do want to start out by saying that every single thrifting hack has nothing to do on where you go, but how you go. If you're going in with the notion that you're in a rush or everything is disgusting, I never find anything, I guarantee you'll leave empty-handed. I rarely walk out with nothing, but I never go thrifting when I'm not feeling it. After watching this video, I am positive that with these tricks and tools, you will never leave a thrift store empty-handed. And if you do, it's guarantee money back, because that's impossible because this is free information. But if you do want to support your sister, like this video and subscribe to the channel because that is completely free. So first off, like I mentioned, you want to go with an attitude that, yes, I'm gonna find something, you feel great. And another tip, always go to the bathroom before you leave and eat something so you're not too hungry. Now, the best time to hit a thrift store is on weekdays right after they open. I know that can be impossible for some of you, but I did want to point this out because that's when I do the best finds for my thrift hunting gem treasure adventures. That's usually when there is not a huge crowd, the shelves are usually in better condition, and the vibe is just there. So weekdays right after they open is when you want to hit the thrift stores. To me, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. I want to remind you to be super polite to the people that work there. A lot of times, thrift stores, especially charity shops, will have volunteers. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. So remember to be polite. They might be rushing. They might not always know what to do or where things are. So just keep that in mind. And when you rummage around, if something drops on the floor, just pick it up and put it back. It really is that simple. This might seem like a silly trick for thrifting, but I think this is great for shopping in general, and that is to dress appropriately. And what I mean is, for me, that means sneakers and leggings, something super easy and light, something that I can just throw something on. Like if I don't want to go into the fitting room, I can kind of try it on outside of the fitting rooms because what I'm wearing is easy to adapt to trying things on. Obviously, you want to feel comfortable, so whatever that means to you, that's what you go with. So comfort is key to a successful shopping trip, be it thrifting or not. Now, sometimes you might want to bring inspiration with you. That could mean Pinterest or somebody you follow on social media. If you love their style, kind of browse through those pins and pictures maybe you've saved on your phone to kind of remind yourself the looks and styles that you're looking for. Even home goods and decor items that you like, because you want to remind your brain that these are the items that I might want to look at. And that gives you a bit of a list and a guideline and inspiration to rummage through the treasures at the thrift store. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, it doesn't really matter where you go. I don't have one secret location I go and then just magically all the things that I want are in that location. I go to several stores depending on the mood, the vibe, what I want to thrift. So don't limit yourself to only one location. Now, obviously, there are going to be locations that are better more often than others, but I wouldn't exclude any shop just because I had a bad experience maybe one time. I didn't find anything. I mean, thrift stores depend on people donating and selling their own stuff, and that can change even on a daily basis depending on what kind of store it is. So Yes. Now, something that I have been doing on this channel is decluttering my closets, my kitchen, my clothing, house decor, all these things. And that's a great thing to do before you hit the thrift stores. So just take a look at what you already have and take out stuff that you haven't been using and you want to donate, because it's an easy one trip shop and donate kind of trick. So I encourage you to go through your closets, even if it's one shelf. See if there's items that, you know what, I'm not wearing this, I'm gonna get rid of this, I'm gonna donate. So out with the old, in with the new kind of concept. Even if it's only one item that you want to donate, it's not going to be clutter in your closet. So make it easy on yourself. Go through the stuff that you have before you hit the thrift store, because it'll be a good swap situation. Now, I always say this, that thrifting is a great way to try out different styles, and this is what I mean. Like, even if it isn't your color, your style, the fit might be off. Maybe it's a men's item or something from the kids department. Maybe you find a top that you think would look cute the other way around. This is where you want to be playful and take your time and kind of be ridiculous. Try on some weird, fun dress from the 80s or any other thing that you might find kind of odd or just not right, because even if you don't buy that particular item, you kind of let yourself be playful and see what the fit is like on your body, and that can open up a whole new way of styling yourself, finding styles that you didn't know that you like, colors, patterns. Just trust me, I've done this a couple of times, and jokingly trying something on has led me to one of my favorite thrifted items. So joke's on me or you or somebody else. Anywho, this is the time to try something on that you never try, because who knows, it might be your next favorite item. Now, this might be the most important tip and trick on how I rely on finding amazing pieces every single time, and that is to look at everything. And what I mean is rummage through the boxes that look weird, or go through every single item with a pair of eyes that is non-judgmental. Because if you always wear black, you're always going to touch the black items. You're going through the black items. How are you going to find something new and inspiring? I mean, if you don't like red, don't go through the red. I totally understand that. But if you don't go through all the items, you might not get inspired. You might miss some real gems. So take your time, look at everything. I know it's time consuming, but that's how you find the gems, affordable gems. Another great way to thrift is to look at something that could be used in a different way. That could be home decor or fabric. Maybe you know how to sew. Maybe you could use an old blanket and make it into a quilt jacket, or maybe something more simpler, that you find a vase that's super cute and you can store your makeup brushes in that, or pens, or little knickknacks. You don't always have to thrift and buy something and use it as the original intention, because thrifting is exactly that, thinking outside of the box. How could I use this fabric to make a new winter coat? Now, maybe you don't know how to make a winter coat, but you get the idea. Sometimes an old frame could be painted and made out to be something totally different. Maybe you glue a mirror to it. I'm not here to say what you should do with the thrifted items that you do find, but I am encouraging you to think out of the box. How could I utilize this piece for something else that could work for me? Now, quality is something that a lot of people talk about when they talk about thrifting, and one thing that I have mentioned before on my channel, but I did want to include it into this video, especially because this is probably one of the most important tips and tricks when it comes to quality. And I have an example here. These are a pair of trousers that I thrifted not that long ago, and these are a vintage white crop pant, and I know it's vintage for multiple reasons. Just the fact of the style and the way it's been made is an indicator that it is vintage. So one way to know if the product is high quality is that the item itself is in great condition. Like the fabric is good, the stitchings are still perfect, the buttons are on, the zipper is good. All those details of that product are still in perfect condition, but the wash tag inside has lost all the writing. That usually means that the item has been washed so many times that the little text and wash information has been washed off because it's been washed so many times, but the actual product is still in great condition. That is a total gem. Now, this next tip is super simple. You might want to even do this as soon as you hit the thrift store. Maybe for those who can't make it in the morning on weekdays. Now, you can do this anytime, obviously, but if you go to a thrift store, let's say on a Saturday when there's a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of people trying stuff on. So you might want to hit the rack that's right next to the fitting rooms, because oftentimes I find a lot of gems on that rack because other people have already thought that, oh, this looks interesting enough. And I'm not saying follow other people or trends or anything else, but I'm just saying don't forget that rack, because there might be a lot of good things that maybe didn't fit right for somebody else but could fit for you, or maybe it wasn't their color or style, you know what I mean. But check the racks that are next to the fitting rooms, because they often have things that you might not see on the actual racks, if you know what I mean. Now, something that the thrift store might have that a regular retail won't is shopping off season. So let's say you're going through all the stuff and you find this great winter coat and it's in the middle of July. Now, normally you're not thinking of a warm, thick coat for the winter, but if you find something that is your style, your color, something that you know what, winter's coming, even though it's summer, this is a great price, this is what I've been looking for, and get it off season. Same thing in the winter. If you're thrifting in the winter and you find a great summer dress, I would snatch that up, because what happens when summer rolls around and you're thinking of that dress that you didn't thrift, that's long gone now. Plus, people are pricing their winter coats in the summer differently than they would in the winter, so that's also something that you should keep in mind. Even though we love thrifting for the summer, in the summer, and we do, if you stumble across something that you know, like, oh my goodness, these boots are perfect, I do encourage you to shop off season, especially when you go thrifting. So sometimes when you go thrifting, something might have a hole in it, it might be a little broken, or there's something that needs to be mended. And I have bought stuff that I have mended, and that's perfectly fine. But you have to be extremely honest when you find an item that you like but needs, let's say the buttons need to be fixed, or there's a tear in the seam that needs to be mended. Now, some of you might know exactly what to do with the item, and if you have to go out of your way to think, am I ever gonna fix this? This is too hard. Then even if the item is amazing, just be honest. Is it something that you're going to take the time out and actually mend, fix, or even take to someone to mend it for you? Because that's just going to waste your time, your money, and So be honest. Remember to check the item in total so you know what you're getting. You don't want to go home and then find out that, oh, it has a hole somewhere, or it's missing buttons that you don't have, or whatever, or some other problem that you're going to have to fix. You have to be honest with yourself and remember to check the item. Now, there are items that are high end, like Prada and Gucci and Versace and all these cool names at the thrift store that people want to get their hands on. And don't get me wrong, that's awesome and cool. But one way to know if you actually like that item, and not just because it has a brand name, is to think of it, would you like it as much for this price if it were H&M or Zara or something that is usually not that expensive? Would you pay that same price of the item? Or are you just buying it for the name? Now, I do want to point out that that's none of my business. If you want to pay an extra 25 euros on something that you could get for 2.5 euros, that's none of my business. You do what feels comfortable to you. But sometimes we get caught up with the high-end brands, even at the thrift store, that we are willing to pay more because of the brand, even if the item is something super simple and maybe just a cotton top. I don't know. So a high-end product at the thrift store. Ask yourself, would you buy this if this were only H&M? Another indicator that has worked for me is touch. Now I will touch the item, the fabric, to see if it's something that I enjoy. Some people hate wool, some people love wool, some people like silk, some people don't like that feel. If it feels nice against your skin, between your fingers, that to me is a great indicator that you'll enjoy it on your body. So trust your own touch and feel when you go through the items that you're gonna maybe wear one day, because only you can tell yourself what feels good on your body. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, buy a certain brand, avoid this material, avoid that material, and even though they could be correct in their lives, only you know what feels good on you. So remember to indulge in touching all the items to know if this is gonna feel comfortable on you. Now, once you come home with the items, be it kitchenware or something like a clothing, you're gonna wanna wash it, obviously. And I am a great user of vinegar, be it for clothing or any household item. Vinegar has been my top-notch friend when it comes to washing items. I will wash clothing with obviously detergent, but I add vinegar because it removes the odor, it makes it more fresh. I encourage you to also wash your clothes with a little bit of vinegar, especially the stuff that you thrift at the thrift store. You're gonna wanna air stuff out, soak things to get the stickers off. You know the drill, because you paid money, even if it's a little sum. It's still something that you bought and you want to use it for as long as you can, and airing out, even washing it a couple of times depending on what the item is, and try that vinegar. It really helps. Next tip is please leave your own tips in the comments below. There's probably things that you do at the thrift store to be lucky that I have no idea about. So we are sharing the wealth and knowledge. Please, please, please leave all your tips and tricks in the comments. I would love to hear them. I'm always up for upping my game and sharing them with you, obviously. I hope the next time you go thrifting, some of these tips will inspire you to thrift in a different way, and maybe you'll get lucky and find something you didn't even know you were looking for. Finally, I do want to note that if you are donating and thrifting, you are actually making a difference in the consumer world. Now, head on over to your closet, take a glance, hit the thrift stores, and let me know how it went, because we are a thrifting community. Now, talking about all these thrifting tricks and tips, it only makes me want to go thrifting even more, which is funny because I'm always out thrifting and it seems like, yeah, Thriftiana Jones is here to stay. Now, go ahead, like this video and comment on all the tips and tricks that you found helpful. And if I missed something, please add them to the list, because that's gonna help somebody else and me. And I truly appreciate that. And remember to subscribe to the channel so you can find your way back for next week's video. Toodaloo.